Some viewers may find the following video disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Board Games Unlocked, and today I'm doing a discussion over Heroes of the Shire. Now I've had this game for a little while, and was trying to find like the best opportunity to do a review over it because I really don't like this game. Like it is not for me in the slightest. And I've tried it many different times. I've tried it 1v1, I've tried it multiplayer, I've tried the scenario mode, and none of it just works. And whenever it comes to games like this, I always feel bad because you can clearly tell that it was from a smaller publisher and it was a passion project and they worked really hard on it. So, like, whenever I shit on games like this, it's always just from a perspective of, well, if I'm going to praise games, I also, like, as a reviewer, it comes down to, if I'm going to praise games and give them their time of day to, you know, help people spend money, the opposite has to be true in that I need to give them my honest opinion and help them save money. Now, there are things about this game that I think a lot of people will like. The idea of a turn-based combat that with zero luck and everything is out in the open on what can be done probably has its place somewhere for certain groups. And the character classes and the spell mastery boards that are assigned to them where each class is unique and they do something different, that's really cool. I think the turn-based combat for this is just so boring in every sense of the term. For me, there's not a single action that anyone does that is exciting or fun in any way. Because it's not necessarily deterministic, but I can see what you do, and you just do that, and you get... And then it cools down. You wait for the cooldown, because you do a cool ability, and it's like, aha, I hate you for a lot. And then now I have to do my free actions because I have to wait for the cooldown. And this game suffers from wanting to do too much because there's so many different modes, and for me, none of them are exceptional, so everything is kind of bog standard at best. And it's just so fiddly. There's so many tokens, and the idea of there's permanent buffs and temporary buffs, but your permanent buffs are on this grid next to the temporary buffs that move down over time. It's just so fiddly. To keep track of health, there's 2d10s that you're just, I took 2 points of damage. Okay, let me track that, let me move it, let me just fiddle with these hundreds of tokens. So many conditions that you have a little sheet, a little thing to reference on what it does. And because there's not enough room for how long they last, you were paralyzed for 3 turns. You were burned. Like, if you're playing in arena mode and you're targeted by 3 different conditions, you have to stack those together. So, I was stunned, confused, burnt, and paralyzed for 3 turns, hypothetically. All those little tokens, like all of these fucking tokens, you have to, let me find them. Let me find which ones they are. And then there's that one, and that one. Now I have to stack them in my 3 section for the conditions for temporary buffs. And then when it's my turn, I have to remember, look through these little tokens to move over and rinse and repeat. That's not fun design. That's not fun battling. And at least it's not for me. Having to reference a player aid for every single condition every single time and then remember that they're on my board because they're stacked and I can't easily see them, only for all of that to just look at it and be like, alright, well I was stunned, so I don't get to do my dice upkeep. I was paralyzed, I don't get to cast spells. I was burned, so I'm taking chip dot damage, and that's it. Your turn. Oh, okay, you did something similar, so I'm just kind of stun locked. It's just, and then the math on top of it. I know they wanted to do percentages, which is basically 50 or 100%, and they explained in the rulebook how they do it. But why? Why? Just to seem clever for your game? I just really just think that the no randomness, no nothing makes every type of combat just seem completely dull. And then whenever you get into like the boss fights, which are in the scenario mode, it's depending on if it's one versus many or fully cooperative, which I mean you have both. One versus many is the guy who's the one just kind of sits there and waits for you to do something, because the scenario mode, you basically just go from tile to tile, and these tiles are numbered and they have a reverse side for no reason at all. This section of exploration needed to be scrapped. There is no reason to have this because the tiles don't do anything except show you where you have been. So you move to a tile, flip it, draw a card from an exploration deck, and it tells you either you fight mobs, draw an action card, which has options, get a loot, and then you just rinse and repeat, do that, and you're just, for the scenarios, you're just trying to destroy and kill 3 bosses. So if the trash mobs show up, then the one person is controlling them and just kind of picking between one of 2 options between the enemies and who to target. And then when it comes to the boss, yeah, he has a lot more to do, but it's still like, I guess why have a one versus many? And then you play a fully cooperative, and then you just roll dice to kind of randomly determine what the enemy does. And what's very frustrating about the bosses is, again, they just have high defense, and even if you're fully equipped with equipment that's a good build for your character, oh, I'm doing an attack that does 14 damage, 20 damage, oh, he has 8 defense, guess that's 4 damage to his 96 health. So it's just prolonged dot damage pretty much the entire fight, and I don't find that fun or exhilarating whenever you're fighting a boss. It has a cooldown just like the players do. Like, there's just too much in this game that needed to just be completely scrapped. Like, either make it a deterministic 1v1 multiplayer arena mode and don't have any of the scenario stuff, or make it a one versus many boss thing. But honestly, I think this game would have been a lot more fun being, I mean, well, the game, straight up game mechanisms, I don't find fun, but for what it is, I think not having a million tokens and a scenario half-assed move around tiles exploration thing, just make it be a boss fight. You have 3 increasingly difficult boss fights. You fight one boss, and then you get some loot, divvy out the loot to then potentially go after the next boss fight. And you can do it in your biomes. There's 4 biomes: earth, fire, water, and ice. I had the collector's edition. It came with both of them. Now, that's not even to begin how the production of this worked. The collection has both of those, but they originally released 2 sets where you only had 2 scenarios to deal with, and if you wanted the other ones, you had to buy the other box or get the collector's edition. Like, oh god, I just don't like it. It's weird because I would think, for my taste, that I would prefer knowing exactly how much damage I'm doing versus I want to do this attack, hope that works. Oh, I needed a 4, I got a 3, dang it, I guess I miss. Somehow, it's like the rolling to see if you hit, that's frustrating. The knowing how much damage you're doing or how much you're healing or whatever you can do, knowing flat out what that's gonna do is boring. So for other reviews and other discussions that I've done, I've always asked the question, which is worse, a painfully bad game or a traditionally bad game or a painfully boring one? And I still hold true that a boring game is worse. Because I really don't have many good qualifications for this. The 1v1 is what it is. You could see the writing on the wall, halfway through the fight. There's no surprise comebacks if you just don't do well, or you fight against an enemy that is a hard counter for you. It is what it is. There's no chance. At least in games like 1v1 games like this, such as Dice Throne, at least there's the chance, if you're getting your ass beat, there's always the chance that you just start rolling well. That you get your ultimate at the right time. That you can get buffs that help you and your opponent rolls poorly. There's always that chance. Here, it always feels like there's a meta. I'm going to do this because that's who I'm up against and this is what's going to work. I'm going to buff myself, give myself health regen for 3 turns, and I can see what you can do. All right, yep, I'm not surprised you did that. There's just nothing exciting. And then you look over at the spell masteries, and you really only get these if you're doing the scenario. You can arbitrarily just level up during an arena mode and just kind of have players pick 5 things to go down. Or whenever you're playing the scenario mode, you can level up through loot or certain action cards. And when you level up, you get more spell masteries. And there's 3 tracks, skill trees to go down, and you can mix and match, kind of. You still have to have prerequisites. But they're like, hey, pretty much go down 1, and they're not wrong. It's better to just go down 1 track. And I like how they're different, and I like how there are unique classes that are typically untouched in a lot of these kinds of games. But once you've kind of seen what each class kind of does, what their shtick is, that's it. There's nothing more to explore. Because of the predeterministic, straight up, it is what it is, damage or numbers, there's just hard counters against certain types. And that's it, and there's really nothing to be done. It's not like, oh, I know you're a hard counter for me, but maybe I can try something to make that work. Not really. No, there's not. So, what bogs this down for me, 1, there's absolutely 0 storage. I've never seen a game that would make or break it so badly based off its insert. And that's coming from Fantasy Flight, owning Fantasy Flight games where they have just the trench. At least with that, there's almost some semblance of storage. Here, there is nothing. And you can almost tell when a game is not going to vibe for you whenever you're storing the game. You're punching everything out, and you're like, I don't want to play this. I remember the first time I was punching everything, all the tokens out and putting them in bags. I was immediately like, nah, I really don't want to try this game. And on top of all that, this might be one of the worst rulebooks I have ever seen. It's painfully bad. There is no structure at all. It's almost like they took their design notes rulebook and printed that off. There's if you ever want to look up just what you do on your turn, good luck finding it. Finding setup, every single, the setup for the scenario, for example, the scenario mode, it shows like the setup page and a bunch of colored squares with basically a line to another dialog box that says, okay, here's the setup for the scenario book, go to this page. Every section references a different page to go to so you can set up the game. Not organized in any way. Trying to figure out just how to play a mode is all over the place. Because not only, it gives you like all the rules, and then it tells you how to set up. It's mind-boggling how, and the game isn't even that complex. That's the thing. It's my turn. Okay, any temporary buff tokens, those slide down. Any dice, they go down by 1 for the cooldown. Then I do my main action. I pick an action to do. Take a die. I want to do my grounding ability. So that is going to do this. And I can heal one person, give them plus 3 HP regen for 3 turns. Now let me dig through the tokens to be able to find that. Yes, it's going to take me 15 minutes because I have to find the token. Oh, it wasn't in that pile. Let me grab the other pile. Here you go. Here's the 3 HP, and that's my turn. And, I mean, the agility, the turn order stays the exact same because it's based off of agility. And unless someone gives you a debuff or a buff that modifies your agility, it stays the same. So if you have characters that don't have that, then it's going to be me, you, me, you, me, you, because I'm just faster. Yeah, and then if you have to reference anything, it's good luck again trying to find it in the rulebook. Like, I remember whenever I was first doing the scenario mode, and I was trying to figure out how the trash mobs worked in the fully cooperative mode of scenario. And I couldn't find it. There wasn't like a scenario rules section. It was just kind of there in the middle of the rulebook. And then for the cooperative mode, it was like the very last page. And yeah, I mean, it was a small paragraph, and I was just reaffirming what I thought they did, but trying to find it was a mess. So I got nothing. Like, even the equipment, I mean, the equipment has like a set bonus that's kind of neat, where, I mean, it's not like an exciting set bonus, but there is a set bonus. Like, the fact that you can get items is fine, but it's basically, you killed no elite trash mobs, you get one draw. If there was an elite in there, you get 2 from the draw deck. And I really just think they needed to cut this game down. This game could have been cleaner if they had stuck to their guns and decided what game they wanted to play. It's almost like they wanted to do a campaign game, but then also Dice Throne was popular, so they wanted to do that. But they were like, well, people hate the randomness of dice, which is not true. I'm the only one that hates the randomness of the dice. And I don't even hate Dice Throne. I'm just burned out on it probably forever. But they're like, what if we took Dice Throne and everything that made that exciting to watch and stripped that down to just the most bare bones of numbers and did a 1v1 with that. But they can also do 1 versus many. There's just those types of games where you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't have, anytime a game comes out and it's like, we have a semi-cooperative, we have a 1 versus many, we have a hidden traitor, we have fully cooperative, we have a solo mode, we have a 1v1, all that is in our game. It's like, okay, so none of those are going to be good. You have all those modes, but they're all ass. So why don't you just pick one and make your game like that? And that's just what I feel with this. I mean, because characters have also their own unique tokens or their own unique cards. Have fun setting that up. Oh, it's the shaman. You want to play the shaman? Well, let me find you her totem tokens, the tiniest tokens. Yeah, they have her picture on the back, but you have to put them in a bag. There's no unique storage. It's awful. I feel like yeah, anyone who makes a 3D printed insert for this game, they're probably raking it in because this game needs it so badly. And I know I've been all over the place talking about the game, but there's just so much in this that I'm just baffled by every design decision around it. Like, I don't know. And I've seen online, like, I know there are people who love it, but I am not one of those people. So, with that being said, on a scale of 1 to 10, I gotta give it like, oh man, I gotta give it a 3. I really, really don't like it because I find the combat and the actual system completely boring, and I love games with cooldowns. It's a system like Divinity Original Sin. That cooldown is fun. Oathsworn's cool. It's not a cooldown system necessarily, but you have to cycle your stuff back to you. I love that's implemented in games. It's because in video games it's just so quick and automatic, you don't really notice it. But in board games, it's an active a process that you have to think about while you're playing. But something about it being here just does nothing for me. None of your 10 options are exciting. And it's so slow because even if you try to do things in a certain way, it's like, okay, I'm going to do this one action. Everyone else go. Now it's finally my turn to sit. Like, if you're trying to set up a combo with your character, it takes so long. So I find it boring. I find the scenario mode completely useless because it's literally just a boss rush with a few extra, mobs or potentially an event along the way. Then rinse and repeat for a different flavor of terrain. I think the arena mode, it's better if you're like in teams or something, if it's like 2v2, because then your healing stuff can actually go towards other people, but it just makes the game way longer. And so on top of that, adding the horrendously lack of storage and the disastrous rulebook, yeah, I got nothing. All the tokens, there's just nothing redeeming really for me, which is unfortunate. But that's how I feel, and I harbor no ill will towards the designers. I'm sure they were successful, and some other people love this game. And if you do, that's great. That's great. I wish you all the best. But that's it, everyone. That's my thoughts on Heroes of the Shire. Let me know what you think of the game in the comments below. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you. Hey everyone, thank you for watching, and I really hope that you enjoyed the video. If you would like to see more of my content, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell to be notified whenever I upload any new content. If you feel like supporting the channel, you can go ahead and click that Patreon link to be taken to my Patreon, and any help is truly appreciated. Other than that, stick around for any other run-throughs or reviews or cool top 10s or whatever I feel like putting on. Other than that, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and have a wonderful whatever time of day it is for you.